Welcome to Comic Boi, a channel where I take the best or worst comic book stories and tell you all about them. This is definitely one of the best. Today we are combining Captain America Steve Rogers' friend and the trial of Maria Hill. The trial of Maria Hill being obviously the bigger one. We start off with 1935, where Steve is in a Hydra class. He gets an answer correct and as the bell rings, is told to stay back. The teacher says Steve displays class leadership and is doing tremendous things in class, despite his physical stature, and he wants Steve to tour the newcomers tomorrow. And Steve smiles and says he's honored before walking off. We see three guys bitching about Steve and saying that soon he is going to suffer. It is Hydra after all. Back to the present, Dr. Selvig asks Steve why would he want to kill the Red Skull. For more information on that, watch the Hail Hydra video. Even when he's their supreme leader, Steve says Hydra cannot grow under him. Plus, Red Skull kind of ordered to kill Selvig. Selvig suggests they strike quickly to avoid his growing fanbase and Hydra army. Plus, the Red Skull has Xavier's powers of telepathy, so he can sense an attack coming from miles away. How do they kill him? Steve says he has experience with that, but they must find a way, and fast. The Red Skull gives a motivating speech to Hydra agents and says they must show their power, starting with Sokovia. We then learn that Sokovia has an extremely powerful dictator called Camille Novoty, and that dictator is against human rights. But then Hydra begin to attack on the Sokovian government and win several supporters in the progress. Although some people are now with Hydra, Sharon Carter insists that Hydra is bad, and letting them do this will cause fascism to return to Europe. And that cannot happen. Back to another speech, Red Skull tells everyone that today the world will know their power when the capital city of Sokovia is defeated. Today, Hydra will rise. We then see Steve thinking about how good it is to have friends. He's surrounded by a bunch of guards, and then Black Widow comes in to give him backup. Back to 1935, Sting is being bullied by three people, and clearly being outfought. Then back to the present, Steve and Nat are fending off everyone, until Nat grabs one guard and asks him to let them see one cell, or all of them open. We then see the guards throw the Sokovian dictator in the room with the Red Skull in it. The dictator, Camille, tells Red Skull to just kill him already, but the Red Skull says no. Today Sokovia will win, and Camille will have his greatest victory ever. I'm just going to drop the accent, that was terrible, I'm sorry. S.H.I.E.L.D. will help him because he defeated Hydra, and will fall right into his trap. Camille asks what's in it for him, and the Red Skull laughs out hysterically. Ha 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 ha! You use your value to me. Camille, you will die. Camille refuses to do it, but the Red Skull says he has no choice. He will have a few months left, and will probably plot a great escape, but it doesn't matter. He'll still die. After Camille's win, S.H.I.E.L.D. freed General Dens, a respected hero, to go help Sokovia. This means S.H.I.E.L.D. will be dropping bombs for General Dens and not Camille. Nat asks after Steve leaves whether that means Camille gets the country back, and Maria Hill says it's that or the Red Skull. Camille will eventually be defeated. Steve thinks that Nat's biggest downfall will be the amount of compromises she makes. Eventually they all catch up, and when they do, it has a price. Back to 1935, Steve is getting his ass kicked as he falls to the ground, but mumbles that he can do it. But then a figure hanging on to something says that Steve probably can, but he'd like to even the odds before he leaps in the fight. We then see Selvig tell Steve that fighting the Avengers, Red Skull, and the S.H.I.E.L.D. is too much for just two people, and his downfall will come. But Steve says he has someone he trusts with his life, and then we see Helmut Zemo. This Zemo was the same one that saved Steve in 1935. Back in 1935, we see Steve and Helmut about to complete a dare they had to empty a liquor bottle, until they run into Baron Heinrich Zemo, the father of Helmut. There's a small reunion where Helmut calls his dad the smartest man in the world. Heinrich tells them about how World War II is about to break, and the cautions they must take. We then cut to the present where Carol, Danvers, and the Alpha Flight are fighting in space against the Chitauri. At the Alpha Flight station, there is also fighting as Director Hill and Steve begin to fend off the Chitauri. Back at S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, the new Kassar, who we've covered in previous stories, is learning about her cosmic awareness to be the protector of the universe. Her cosmic awareness shows her the fight. We then see Steve and Helmut sneak out to see Heinrich with other people, and the woman who brought Steve is there. They decide to side with the Nazis in the war and slowly replace Nazi soldiers with Hydra agents. We then see Carol, Hill, and Steve defeat the Chitauri, but Kassar senses a second, maybe even more invasions, and that this was just the start. Avril, or Kassar, then launches up, and the people of Alpha Flight also realize something big is coming. Everyone is then assembled to the headquarters. Kassar then gets rid of the current wave of Chitauri, and as she's celebrating with Carol and Hill, Steve walks in and tells her to wait outside. He needs to talk to the trouble duo, Maria and Carol, privately. Steve screams at Maria and Captain Marvel, saying that right after they come off a war, because they used a kid who's extremely as powerful as a weapon. She and Carol don't learn from the mistakes, and they'll be in a war again soon. We then see Hydra people Steve and Selma are spying on ask how Steve is doing. Steve then tells Kassar that she did great and has potential, but shouldn't rush into things. He then asks her if he can see Bucky Barnes, who is right now with Thunderbolt. We then see someone growing something and says they are ready to hatch. 1940, Steve is being criticized for his physique by the teacher, but then the Hydra agent says that is why it must be him. We see Maria Hill talk to two scientists about an idea that could blow everyone away, and they are told by Maria to make a PowerPoint that ends all other PowerPoints. We then open off to the trial of Maria Hill, where we discover that Everett Ross will be against Maria Hill staying on at S.H.I.E.L.D., while Maria will speak for herself, and she can't wait. We see Steve and an acquaintance ward off some criminal on the Scottish high grounds, and then Steve walks into a cave with a monster in it. We then see Helmut and Steve tending to Steve's injuries, and Helmut tells Steve never to doubt himself, because the woman who brought him here, otherwise referred to as the witch, said he would lead them all. We then see multiple professionals are all against Maria Hill and have facts against her, but the witnesses Maria Hill pulls out are all normal human beings who are still alive because of her. She also gets a villain from Pleasant Hill who became good because of Maria Hill. Everett Ross, running out of options, then pulls out Steve Rogers, who says Maria Hill gave Baron Zemo the Cosmic Cube, and that is a sin that can't be forgotten or forgiven. Maria Hill failed them all then, and has to leave, especially with a great successor right in S.H.I.E.L.D. already, as he looks at Sharon Carter. We then see the monster beat up Steve Rogers before he fights back and ends up winning and getting the book they came there for, The Darkhold. Maria Hill then stands up and says, we need to stop talking about the past, and we need to discuss the future. The last Civil War showed Maria some stunning visions. The Skrulls, Celestials, the Kree, Galactus, and now Carol Danvers' Alpha Flight is preparing for a massive Chitauri invasion. They need to prepare. Then she shows everyone the shield, a circular shield surrounding the Earth. She explains that they have a choice. They can put someone new into S.H.I.E.L.D. and let problems arise, or they can keep her and make the world a better place. Back in 1940, we see Steve Rogers get the information he needs for his first mission, to get close to Dr. Erskine to get the Super Soldier Serum. For Hydra. We then see Steve writing letters to Helmut about how he can't get close to Erskine because the army keeps rejecting him. He is forced to now move on to other things, being a waiter at the place Erskine comes every morning, until one day he comes with a general who recognizes Steve as the person who keeps coming every single day to sign up. But he can't. Erskine says he must hear all about it. But first, more coffee, please. We then see that the court think Maria Hill is a unworthy to continue as director of S.H.I.E.L.D. and must be escorted out of the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier where the trial is taking place. We then see the court ask Steve Rogers to stay back once everyone leaves, and they ask him who he thinks should be director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he says Sharon Carter is the only right option. A S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that comes and whispers in his ear, and he's off running. We see Steve with S.H.I.E.L.D. agents run off when we see that Maria Hill has broken free and is running forward. She takes all the files on the laptop and leaves in a flying car attached to the helicarrier, where the trial happened. We see Steve in the Hydra meeting room with the Red Skull, screaming at him, calling him careless. The Red Skull says, "How could you be so careless, Steve?" And then the Red Skull says, if the S.H.I.E.L.D. is made, then the Chitauri invasion he had planned will fail. Red Skull also tells Steve Rogers that Jack Flag must die right now. Steve Rogers has too many loose ends. Steve is furious, and Selvig says that Jack Flag is likely to heal and expose Steve Rogers. So Selvig gives Steve an injection and says it will kill Jack Flag. Back to 1940, Steve is having a discussion with Erskine before a co-worker's purse is stolen, and then Steve charges off in an attempt to stop the thief. We then cut to the hospital where Steve is about to inject Jack Flag. Then Kathy appears and runs up to hug Steve. Kathy says that they're turning off the machines because it's what Jack would have wanted, and Steve asks Kathy if she's sure, and Kathy says yes. Kathy then bursts into tears, and Steve comforts her, sliding the injection into his pocket. Steve then goes to Sharon, and the two hug each other after Jack's death. We then see Sharon tell Steve about the S.H.I.E.L.D. director job being offered, and Steve tells her she'll be great. But then Sharon says she rejected it. Sharon tells Steve that nobody hates a new Hydra as much as Steve does, and it has to be Steve that leads S.H.I.E.L.D. He needs to be director. Steve looks shocked. Back to 1940, Steve has been severely beaten, but then Erskine says that the attitude is what they need, and he tells General he's picked Steve for the super soldier serum. They tell Steve to line up tomorrow morning. And that is the conclusion of the next two arcs in the Steve Rogers series. And oh my god, is this amazing. So he's a director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Helmut Zemo is his friend. And we're really getting into what he does in the army during the flashbacks now. Personally, I cannot wait for the next arc. I cannot wait to tell you guys what happens. Let me know what stories you guys want to see in the comment section down below. Like the video, comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and see ya!